Not done yet. Don't look there yet.
Okay. Have you plugged in the MX for that?
No, I have not yet.
Okay.
There is no MX. I'm looking at y equals
Okay, but
x
you
squared.
did do MX.
Yeah, I just think the answer is trivial.
Okay.
So I think, you guys, we should take a peek at this. How about replacing my y with an x squared? I think this limit right here, x squared y over x to the fourth plus y squared, simply becomes this. Oh, but shoot, yeah.
I'm having trouble with the goal, like what our goals here are.
And the goal is this simple. I'm just trying to find two paths for which I can go to the origin, for which the limit is actually something different. Because I'm telling you up front that the limit does not exist.
Okay.
And so for you to show me the limit does not exist, you've got to find different paths for which the limit gives you a different number. Just like in Math 3, when you had a function that was discontinuous and even a jump discontinuity, showing the two one-sided limits don't agree, shows you the limit does not exist.
So we plug in x squared, and now there's no y to plug into.
True, but it just simply amounts to this.
So you still get 0.
Well,
But then
no,
you
this
get
thing goes to
0.
1/2.
Thank you. I think this thing values to positive 1/2.
Okay, so the bottom line here, you tried it along the x-axis, you tried it along the y-axis, you tried it along a single line of that, y equals mx. And there's still, but we're already been told the limit does not exist, so we have to keep trying different things until we get,
I agree.
okay.
Why don't you make y equal to negative x to the fourth?
Huh.
Because I get 0.
You get a 0 in the denominator, so it doesn't exist, right?
What?
No, I get, if you put an x to the fourth here and here,
Negative x to the fourth.
Well, if you let y equal negative x to the fourth get squared,
Maybe it would be better if you let it equal y equals negative x squared, because then,
Well, the negative,
No.
it's always gonna be positive y. What if you got y equal ax squared?
Or if you let
that would work.
y equal let's see, negative x cubed, and then if you pulled out an x squared.
What's your goal in doing that?
Oh wait, no, never mind. That
It's
doesn't
like a
make
lot of
sense.
work
Yeah.
for very little bit.
Because I think I'm already done.
Why couldn't you have just like, yeah. Okay, yeah, so if you have y equals negative x squared, then they have x to the fourth minus x to the fourth, you get some step over 0, and that does not exist.
Yeah, I think if you replace y with negative x squared, you're going to get negative 1/2. That's fine. I'm just too tired. Why bother? We don't need it. I think already we have along y equals x squared and along x-axis we have different limiting values.
Oh, okay.
so
I'm just tired because I'm lazy. I've already shown I've got two paths for which the limit's different.
So in addition to using the x-axis, the y-axis, the y equals mx line, we can also use the curve y equals x squared. So we
Whatever it takes.
Okay, I see.
You can use anything, just to make it easier on yourself.
Yeah, did you guys see on my 3 examples? Only 3 examples so far. But the first time was easy, basic lines along the axes. Second example wasn't quite as easy. I went along the lines y equals mx. It's just this time around I had to raise my level of complexity a little bit. I came in with a parabolic curve. Excuse me.
So all you have to show is that it just equals 2 different points if you plug in 2 different functions,
You got to show you get 2 different
or 2 different values.
if you come along 2 different paths into the origin or whatever the point
So
A
we
comma B
may have to
is.
be very clever to decide what a
Yes, thank you.
substituting
Yes.
curve is
I
to
agree.
make this happen.
I agree.
Okay.
And I
So-
suppose I get style points for putting in really good substitutions that.
Yeah, you want it to be aesthetically pleasing, interesting.
As far as starting work, would you want us to show what happens when x, as you put some on the x-axis for decoration at the end? So would you want to see both pieces and then?
You know what? I don't know. I would be okay if you did, because I think you and I should glance at that and recognize that it goes to 0. I'm hoping.
So with the delta epsilon proofs, it goes further than that, right? We actually have
You mean
to,
number 6?
yeah, we have to find our delta in that. Oh, that's number 6, that's what you do, okay. I was wondering where that went.
I was just taking babies.
Okay.
Can we spend some time on that delta epsilon stuff again? I'm still confused.
That's what we're doing.
When?
Huh?
When?
Like after class.
Oh, yeah, 1 o'clock, sure.
Okay.
The Calculus Club?
Yeah, you're doing logic and delta epsilon?
Well, I don't know. I just read the title of the email. It says I'm supposed to give a presentation on logic, but then as it pertains to calculus.
As it pertains to yes.
You're doing your homework.
But,
Pertains to philosophy.
I was talking to Randall the other day, and he said that he was hoping to maybe get a delta epsilon lecture in there too,
Well, that's what I
if
assumed
you're
you
willing
meant.
for that. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
so I was gonna culminate that.
Okay.
It's gonna be really hard in a short period of time, but yeah.
Thanks.
You guys, check this out. I gotta look at my example. 2xy squared over x squared plus y squared. I maintain this limit is equal to 0. Let's see if we can prove it. Using our delta epsilon, I can't speak today, sorry. Using my delta epsilon definition of limits. So, everybody. Given an epsilon greater than 0, let's find a delta greater than 0 such that when I take a peek at the limit as x comma y goes to the origin of this 2x squared, I misspoke everybody, I said limit, that's what I'm trying to prove. I just meant to say, if I look at the absolute value difference between 2xy squared over x squared plus y squared minus the origin, I think I simply get this.
Oh, that's a delta, not my bad.
Shoot, I made a mistake, hold it. So Eric, I meant this. And I think this is nothing more than the absolute value of this mess. You guys agree so far? Well, actually, this is what I'm trying to find. And I maintain this is going to be less than or equal to the absolute value of 2x times well, actually, if you look at the y squared, yes, Eric,
Where'd you get the 0 from?
over here. So it's really the case that my L of acting is 0.
Oh, okay, okay.
And my f of x comma y is nothing more than the entire expression with the limit, nothing more.
Okay.
Do you guys agree with this? Humor me. Yes or no?
No,
Why not?
Has to be
because the absolute value isn't finished.
Oh, sorry. My apologies.
Well, that part doesn't matter. It has to be, doesn't have to be strictly less than.
You know, you're right, but this is still a true statement.
Okay.
You guys, I think I'm wrong.
What?
Because I think as x and y are going to 0, for example, if x is 1/2, then I think if x is 1/2, x squared is going to be
1/4.
1/4. I don't think that holds. So I guess I'll change it. What if I do this? Can I proclaim that this is a true statement? Yes or no?
Yes?
Yeah, I think it's a true statement, because this right here is going to be nothing more than the absolute value of x anyways. But that is going to be less than or equal to 2 times the square root of x squared plus y squared. Oh, by the way, you guys, I guess I'm being silly. I guess my absolute value bars at this point are superfluous. But isn't that just simply this? Do you guys agree?
where did you get, okay, where did you go from step equals to, to that step, yes. How did you get to that step?
Well, can't you interpret the square root of x squared plus y squared as the square root of itself times the square root of itself?
I obviously couldn't, so.
How'd you do that? Anybody else?
Now, what is our goal in rewriting the problem this way?
Well, I'm trying to find a delta that's going to allow this limit, this difference right here, to be less than any epsilon. Now, I start off my proof by suggesting that epsilon is any small positive real number. I don't care what it is. You guys, I'm running out of room. Can I go to the middle board? I still want to erase my definition. Caleb.
On the top, how the root x squared have a y there now? Or what'd you do there?
I wanted it. I mean, think about it. If I try and just find a delta that works, don't I want it to involve something like the square root of x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared? But that's just the square root of x squared minus y squared, or x squared plus y squared.
But you replace that?
You have to believe it. You have to agree it's true. I mean, this square root of x squared is indeed less than or equal to this beast.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, right, I see that.
Oh, by the way, if you take a peek at what I have over here, sorry you guys, I'm disorganized. Because I started on the right-hand board. I think that's going to be the same as, actually I misspoke. How about saying it's less than or equal to 2 times y squared plus x squared? You guys just humor me. Is that true?
Wait, why? What happened?
You're so confused. Are you saying you're confused? All I'm trying to do is force this issue. If a comma b is going to be 0 comma 0, I think I'm just looking at this.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm just trying to force myself to see the square root of x squared plus y squared as many times as I can until I completely simplify this mess. Yes?
Why isn't the last sign less than or equal to?
Because I think these are equal to each other.
They're equal?
Well, yeah, because if I cancel these 2 factors, right, they're the same.
Okay, but you added in an extra term so that you could factor out,
No, I didn't add an extra term, because I think this downstairs is exactly the same as this.
okay.
Now, maybe from here to here, I added something inside the radicand's position.
Right.
That's why I had the inequality. But I
Right.
think algebraically, this is equal to this, or this is equal to this.
Right, but since you added it inside the radicand, wouldn't the less than sign have to persist?
Absolutely not.
Okay,
Clumsy hands, or watch. My big erasers. You don't even see it up there.
sure.
Then I think I can proclaim algebraically speaking that.
Okay.
I think this equal sign merely relates these 2 algebraic expressions.
Okay,
It has nothing to do with.
I thought that equal sign had related to the upper one.
No. I was just looking at the very previous expression.
I would agree with that.
Did you guys get Maddie?
So we have a problem, and then you're trying to get f of x, y minus L in terms of whatever that turns into when you plug in A and B.
Yes, and I'm trying
That's
to
it.
get it into an expression involving the square root of x squared plus y squared.
Right now, because A and B is 0.
And I think I've succeeded.
Why don't you just divide those 2 terms because
Thank you
you're
very
gonna,
much.
yeah, but then you've got the 2 coefficient there.
Well, that's fine. If I want this thing to be less than epsilon, then how are you gonna choose your delta?
2?
I can't hear you.
Oh.
If I want this whole thing to be less than epsilon.
1/2.
How am I gonna choose this thing? 1/2.
1/2 delta? Or
1/2
delta?
of
1/2 of epsilon?
epsilon, thank you.
Epsilon,
Thank
all
you.
right.
So if I have the case that this thing is strictly less than 1/2 epsilon, I think I'm done. For this to be equal or less than 2 times delta, and if I choose delta to be epsilon halves, check this out. Look what I've done, you guys, on the board. I've proven to you that the absolute value difference is strictly less than my epsilon.
So
Did
we're
you guys see
saying,
it?
Yeah. So you just manipulate the equation until you got it to a place where there's a coefficient,
I agree.
and then you replace, okay, yeah, I see it.
So you guys, do you see
a
the
little different,
organization of my
yeah.
work?
not yet.
I have to confess, I gotta come back here and do the following. Show you formally that this works. Because I think what I've proven on the board is absolutely nothing.
You've just found your
It's
epsilon.
just scratch work. So, I'll call that part 1. How about part 2? we will show that this particular choice for delta works. So, given any epsilon greater than 0, we will choose our delta to be equal to epsilon halves. But that necessarily implies that if the square root of x squared plus y squared is less than delta, and by the way, we don't care if it's equal to 0, then if I can show you, the reader, that the absolute value difference between my f of x, I've erased it, you guys. Oh, it's right here. My f of x, y, minus my L value, if I can show you, shoot, that this is strictly less than epsilon, then I've proven to you with my definition limits that the limit of that garbage is indeed equal to L as x comma y went to the origin. So, let's give it a shot. To be honest with you, I'm being silly. I'm just going to rewrite what I already had in the board. I'm just going to reorganize it. I think this is equal to, I don't have enough room. Can I write it up here? Then, the absolute value of 2x y squared over x squared plus y squared minus 0 is nothing more than the absolute value of this mess. But that's equal to this mess. But that's less than or equal to this mess. But that's equivalent to this mess. Which is, oh, thank you very much. Which is less than or equal to 2 times the quantity y squared plus x squared over the square root of the same stuff. But that is merely equal to 2 times the square root of x squared plus y squared. But you guys, this is a mathematical proof, and I made some assumptions. Well, I said assumptions plural. I meant I made an assumption. Namely that, whenever I see this beast, it's strictly less than delta. So I will claim my assumption. I think this is going to be then strictly less than 2 times my delta, but I've already proclaimed that delta is equal to, what was it?
It was epsilon over 2.
halves. That is equal to epsilon. Therefore, indeed, the limit of my f of x, 2x y squared over x squared plus y squared, is indeed equal to 0.
Love
We
how
prove
the
what we want to show.
limit turned into the fraction.
Are you there?
Yeah, I have one question. So we've been doing limits like for the past 2 days just using 2 variables, but say we had like a 3 variable plane or something and we're taking a limit of it, would the same logic apply?
So what example was this?
6.
Something. 6.
I can't, you guys. I can't do this. I can't make an example off the top of my head.
Okay.
Can you just summarize this one? Since we have like 3 inequalities, like so I'm gonna have 4 different things separated by 3 inequalities.
Well, shoot, I'm going to ask when I raise the definitions. In my definitions, we can say limit f of x comma y is equal to L. It means that given the square root of x squared plus y squared is less than delta, I've got to show you, the reader, that the absolute value difference between the output of my function f and my L is well, eventually less than epsilon. And so I think I've shown you by definition of limits that this piece right here is indeed strictly less than epsilon. Well, it's understood to be greater than 0. I even stipulated that before I got started. Yeah, I agree. Caleb, am I answering a question?
So where's the range of delta come in?
That came with my assumption. So I was assuming, number one, that this beast right here is strictly less than delta, and number two, I was assuming that delta actually held this value in terms of epsilon. This is sort of like my boss poking his head in the door, screaming at me, I better get a job done. And get a job done in such a way that I don't deviate from my final product by epsilon units. But I realized was when I'm working with machinery, I've got to find a corresponding delta value that guarantees me that in the end, the deviation from what I'm supposed to do with this job is strictly less than epsilon units.
And you chose epsilon over 2, or how do we get that?
Oh, by 2 words I erased already. That was my
Well,
scratch work.
I was confused. On the left, it's 2 times delta, and this went 2 times epsilon over 2. How did we?
This delta's not here. What do you mean? So 2 times delta,
Right.
which is the same thing as 2 times epsilon over 2 if I choose delta and b man. If I choose cancel, I'm left with epsilon.
So you did just choose.
Oh, I did. That's why I went through all that scratch work. That's why I went all the way through that part 1. I was trying to find it. I was panicking. Trying to find a delta as it relates to epsilon so that in the end, that difference is going to be less than epsilon.
Definition.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that.
We knew that root x squared plus y squared from the definition.
Well, I knew that because it was my assumption. But it is that assumption is part of the definition.
Are we gonna get around to taking this quiz? Because there's like 8 minutes left in class.
Yes, we can get the quiz. I'll give you an example rather than next time.
Unless you
Or
want
could
us
we
to-
do it in a calculus club?
Of course. So you guys ready?
Or take home, yeah, that would be great.
Then we can just have this. Wait, are you, oh, you're just gonna give us a call on the book?
No, I want to do homework.
Dude, like, he drops
Oh, you're giving us
all of our lowest quiz scores after 10 quizzes. So if we take over 10 quizzes, it only helps us to like better our grades.
Is it quiz problem?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
okay, you actually have a quiz problem for us.
if we have one in class and a take home one, that would be good.
Are you guys ready for free 10 points?